The most dangerous kind of pain is the kind no one ever sees. The kind that grows in silence, in isolation, in a mind that was never taught how to feel safely. And when that pain finally speaks, it doesn't ask for help. It demands control. That's the reality of Gaara, a child born not just into loneliness, but into rejection so deep that it rewired his understanding of love, trust, and identity itself. Gaara wasn't raised, he was endured. From the moment he entered the world, he was treated as a weapon, a container, something to be feared rather than understood. There was no emotional foundation, no sense of belonging, no safe space to develop a healthy identity. And when a child grows up without love, they don't just feel empty, they start to define themselves through that emptiness. For Gaara, that meant one thing: if no one will love me, I will make them fear me. And that's where his first form of leadership begins, through domination. Not because he wanted to lead, but because control was the only way he knew how to survive. Fear became his language. Violence became his communication. Because in his world, connection didn't exist, only power did. This is the psychology of isolation. When you're cut off from genuine human connection, your mind looks for alternatives. And often, those alternatives are destructive. But here's what makes Gaara's story so powerful. It doesn't end there. Because deep down, even in the middle of all that pain, there was still a part of him searching for meaning. A part of him questioning why he existed, why he suffered, why he was alone. And that internal questioning is important, because it shows that even the most broken individuals still have the capacity for awareness. And awareness is the first step toward change. Everything shifts when Gaara encounters Naruto Uzumaki. Not because Naruto is stronger, but because Naruto understands him. For the first time, Gaara is seen, not as a weapon, not as a monster, but as someone who has been hurt. Because it forces him to confront a truth he's been avoiding. He's not alone in his pain. That moment is critical, because change doesn't happen through force. It happens through realization. Gaara begins to see that there's another way to exist, that strength doesn't have to come from fear, that connection doesn't have to lead to betrayal. And that realization creates a conflict inside him. The old identity versus the possibility of a new one. And this is where emotional control begins to develop. Before, Gaara's emotions controlled him. His anger dictated his actions. His pain became his identity. But after that shift, he starts to observe those emotions instead of being consumed by them. That's a huge psychological transformation. Because emotional control isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about understanding them, managing them, and choosing how to respond. As Gaara steps into leadership as Kazekage, this transformation becomes even more visible. He's no longer leading through fear. He's leading through responsibility, through protection, through empathy, and that's a completely different energy. Because now, his strength isn't about proving something. It's about serving something greater than himself. But that doesn't mean the past disappears. Gaara carries his history with him. The isolation, the rejection, the pain, it doesn't vanish. It becomes part of him. But instead of letting it control him, he uses it. He understands what it feels like to be alone, so he makes sure others don't feel the same. He understands what it feels like to be feared, so he chooses to protect instead of intimidate. That's growth. Not the absence of pain, but the transformation of it. There's a powerful lesson here about leadership. The best leaders aren't the ones who've never struggled. They're the ones who faced their struggles and learned from them. Because leadership isn't just about strength. It's about understanding people. It's about knowing what they feel, what they fear, what they need. And Gaara, because of his past, understands that on a deep level. He also shows us something important about control. Real control isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. Your reactions, your impulses, your emotions. Before, Gaara needed to dominate everything around him to feel stable. Now, he creates stability within himself. And that internal stability allows him to lead effectively. And that shift from external control to internal control is one of the most important transformations anyone can make. Because when you rely on controlling the outside world, you're always vulnerable. Things change. People act unpredictably. Situations evolve. But when you develop control within yourself, you become grounded. You become steady, regardless of what's happening around you. Gaara's story is also about identity. He was given a label, a weapon, a monster, a threat, and for a long time, he accepted that label. He lived it. He became it. But eventually, he realized something powerful. You are not defined by what others call you. You are defined by what you choose to become. And that choice is where freedom exists. Because no matter how you started, no matter what you've been through, no matter how people see you, you still have the ability to redefine yourself. It's not easy. It requires confronting pain, facing uncomfortable truths, and letting go of identities that once protected you. But it's possible. Gaara did it. He went from isolation to connection, from fear to respect, from chaos to control. And that transformation didn't come from power, it came from understanding. So when you look at Gaara now, you're not just seeing a strong leader. You're seeing someone who mastered himself, someone who took the darkest parts of his experience and turned them into something meaningful. And that's a level of strength most people never reach. Because it's easy to let pain define you. It's easy to let isolation turn into anger. It's easy to stay stuck in the identity you were given. What's hard is changing. What's hard is choosing to grow. What's hard is facing yourself and deciding to become something more. And that's exactly what Gaara did. So the next time you feel alone, misunderstood, or defined by something you didn't choose, remember this. Your past may shape you, but it doesn't have to control you. Because real power begins the moment you take control of yourself.